mean, I always think if you're the CFO, your job is to make, and you're a large corporation, your job is to make sure that stock goes up, right? So, that is always going to be your job. That is always going to be on the back of your mind. But on the other piece of that, money is part of it. But I also think people don't want to feel disposable, especially when you've been with a company for, more than a minute. People don't want to feel like they are a number. They want to feel heard. They want to feel that the company recognizes the value that they're bringing. And, I think in every occupation, there's something that's industry knowledge. And when you've worked as a teacher or you've worked for a corporation for a very long time, there's knowledge that I can't teach you. It's knowledge that you have from your years of service in that industry. And I think that, I think that has a pretty high value in corporations and in every occupation. And if the leaders of these occupations, they need to recognize that, because then all of a sudden they get this turnover and they're losing that sort of industry knowledge. And that's a shame. That's why we lose great teachers like yourself who, they don't want to be part of that corporation anymore.
One of the things I want to circle back on is having clear, transparent, promotional wages, where, hey, this is the path, and having that clear. Is that something because a lot of times people in the past, it's like, don't ever, how dare you ask me how much I'm making? But I almost feel like if there was a clear, open pathway of, hey, this is, if you achieve this level in this company, this is what you're making, and everybody's kind of making the same, where the promotions are based on merit. I mean, is that something that's feasible, or does that punish the harder workers that are at the same level as those that are just sitting there collecting money?
No, I mean, again, part of the legislation that we worked on in Colorado is to provide those clear pathways. So for myself, as we talked about earlier, I was given hoop after hoop. And regardless of clearing them, it was, sorry, we were just sort of making that up. And
you didn't think you'd jump through the hoop.
Exactly. And so by showing those clear pathways, you can say, for example, if I break this down to a line level group of employees, I mean, you can base it on time. Hey, you can't move up to the next level until you've been here for at least a year, 2 years, whatever you want to space that. You can base it on knowledge and say, hey, I can't promote you until you get your CDL driver's license. You can make concrete steps for people that are tiered for being able to grow within an organization. And I think that's going to be huge. And when you have 2 people or even more going out for the same position, right? Having that transparency of why one person was taken over another is huge, and it's going to hold companies accountable. Now, if in Colorado, if you're, I don't even know the stages of teachers, but if you're a great teacher and I just want to give you a promotion for being a great teacher, it's not a new job. It's, hey, we're going to move you up to a senior teacher because you're doing such a good job. That's a little different. I don't have to post that. I don't have to necessarily interview other people. I'm promoting you for doing a great job. But if I have an opening, that's something that, say a manager leaves and you've got 2 line level people who started at the same time. It makes it more so you can't pick one person because they're your buddy. You got to pick the person who's going to be best suited for the position.
Now, there may be cases where the person best suited for that position is your buddy.
Sure.
But if you have the data, you have like if they have the qualifications and to back it up, there shouldn't be an issue. You know, it's like we should get to a point where we're so like you were saying, so transparent where like I promoted Phyllis instead of Michael, and because look this is where Phyllis's performance has been. She's been with the company X amount of years. She's got this licensure. She's got this, and this is where she's getting the promotion. And it's like, and I almost feel like that is how do we combat that stigma now if we do implement this stuff? Do you feel like it's just going to something that's going to take time, or are people going to still be kind of questioning every promotion or worried about their pay, even if we have these things in place?
I mean, I definitely think it's a change in mindset. For example, when Colorado started posting hiring ranges, they also made it illegal, because we used to have, that same director I had used to be like, no one can talk about their wages at work. Well, that was made illegal in Colorado, because I think also, especially when you're talking about wage gap issues, how do I know I'm making less or more than the person that I've sat beside and worked with for the past 20 years if we're not allowed to talk about it, right? It makes it very hard to figure out. So Colorado said, hey, you can't say that anymore. And employees, let's get real. Employees are going to totally talk about it. So, you know, why put something on that where they're now afraid they're going to get in trouble? Like, again, you know, the goal of being a good leader is not to lead by fear, but to lead by example or leadership, you know? And I had those conversations. There were some adjustments made while I was still at the company that were made in one group and not another. And I said something to my director, and I'm like, how do I handle this? This needs to be fixed. And he goes, well, why are they talking about it? They can't do that. And I was like, yeah, they can do that now. Like that. I'm sorry, but that's legal. We can't tell them that.
And even if it wasn't legal, guess what? They're going to talk about it. They're going to go. They're going to go to the bar. They're going to have a couple drinks and like, you know, what's going on here? That kind of like strong arm censorship is silly.
I think the other thing too is if I don't get a job, if I don't get the promotion and someone else does, and then you sit down with me as my manager and say, hey, I hired Aaron because he's been doing podcasts for a really long time and you've never done one. And, you know, we really want to grow this as to something the company's doing, right? I can be like, oh, is this something that I should be learning? Is this something, you know what I mean? It can give that other person who didn't get the promotion, what do I have to do to get that promotion next time?
Catch new episodes of Mental Health Mondays every Monday morning at 7 a.m. Start your week off with a smile and some inspiration.